once you kind of figured out your cloud alignment, it does sometimes impact your database, your data warehousing, and your streaming data analytics choices. We spoke about that. Here again, you can see AWS is extremely high in our survey when it comes to this data warehousing side. It does have Microsoft beat a little bit. Then, of course, you have some of the other, more niche players, Redis, MariaDB, Mongo, with their own instances. But this is the one I really want to talk about. Snowflake came out of the gate super hot. This net score is still incredibly elevated for any vendors we've tracked over the last decade, but it seems to be coming down a tiny bit. I would love to hear from your thoughts, your perspective. You kind of alluded to the fact that, AWS Lambda allows you to run these instances. AWS has some great database products. How does Snowflake fit in? Is it necessary, or will AWS just simply be able to say, no, we can do this ourselves?
So far they have unable to. So this is sort of my area of expertise, and so far they're struggling. I think for AWS, they have too many cooks in the kitchen problems. So there's Redshift, I would say, is probably the closest Snowflake competitor, but they're definitely not building out everything else that Snowflake has. So I don't see them taking over Snowflake at any point in this space. Snowflake is singularly focused on execution for the data warehousing niche they're in. But I should point out, Snowflake still runs on AWS or Azure or GCP. So
right. Well, that was its main. That was one of the main reasons it came out, is that it would allow you to run a hybrid multi-cloud architecture and not be locked in on any.
Right. So AWS still gets a cut of whatever Snowflake is doing, is essentially what I'm saying. So you do.
Understood.
Right, like the processing and storage is effectively a pass-through bill. But Snowflake has a lot of value. They're able to start attacking a lot of value-add things through their marketplace, direct sharing, listings, discoverability, and like just the network effect of having all of your clients, all of your vendors in the same data platform. I don't think AWS is focused on that exact use case, even though they have one-to-many products that are able to tackle it. I don't think they're focused on it, because they can focus on so many other things, so many other use cases. So I still see the staying at the top for this particular set of vendors for these use cases.
If you don't mind, George, you said it's your area of expertise, and it's not for me. So I'm going to ask you to teach me a little bit here. Two comments that I just want to touch upon quickly. One will be the easier, and another one will be more difficult because I don't know it as well. But you did mention the Snowflake marketplace. It is a very differentiated type of product where they're actually becoming their own, retailer of different types of data sets. How much growth do you see in that area? Like, is that Snowflake's executive management team is fantastic. They have a ton of cash to invest. They're in a great position. This is not an area I expected. I thought they were going to be a pure data warehousing, separate compute from storage, allow, the portability of data. I didn't see coming as their business model early on. So I'm just curious, how many legs do you think there is to the Snowflake marketplace? How big can it get?
I don't have the size of the data market, but I think it all depends on them demonstrating value. And right now, there's only so many financial service providers or even data providers by category in that marketplace, right? So as more financial services or more data providers open up to being in there, right? So versus doing your own vendor lock-in, you can only get our data through our platform. Sorry, I forgot what the refinitive version of this is, right? As soon as more vendors start opening up, I think that the more value, intrinsic value Snowflake will have. So I think there's plenty of leg to go there. I think they're only scratching the surface for it, and they keep innovating on the types of things you're able to deliver. So at this point, it's not just delivering your content, but you're able to package up your internal business logic through AWS Lambdas, mind you, and easily be able to sell that as well. So for example, if I didn't want to charge multiple thousands of dollars for a content set, but if you just want to take a ticker, see its exposure to something, I could package that up, charge you a couple $100 per run. You only need to do so many of them, right? So that's the business model, right? That's code that's running in my AWS region, but that's seamlessly integrated into your environment. You can run it as as the Snowflake function, for example, and it spits you back the results. So they're looking into that kind of pricing model. I think they take a larger cut of that. There's native applications. They're looking for
Right.
to be able to share more and more stuff through this platform. So I think they're in the early stages of what this thing can do.
Fantastic. Thank you. And then this question, would you say Redshift is probably their closest competitor? I never
Correct.
really thought of it that way. And I was hoping maybe you could even just a sentence or two kind of explain to me from a functionality perspective, like how they would be viewed a close competitor to Snowflake.
So like AWS is never one, what the differentiator for Snowflake is Snowflake is one product, whereas AWS, there's a couple. So Redshift, a fork of a very old Postgres database, but it's quickly evolving to be through multiple engine rewrites, etc., to be the type of to what you mentioned Snowflake was, separation of storage and compute.
Right.
So I think for Snowflake, they have three punchlines. Punchlines, three things, right? So separation of storage and compute, meaning multiple people can query stuff, not bump into each other, all on demand. Direct data sharing, so I load a table on my side, I share it with you. You get it. You don't need to run ETL. You can use it with the rest of your stuff. So Redshift is catching up to that. And the marketplace, they have capability through AWS Data Exchange, right? I don't know if that's integrating Redshift directly just yet, but that's also meant to be a Snowflake marketplace competitor where you can look for content sets. I can host mine of, I don't know, COVID data for the last 5 years, buy it from me. I'll keep updating it. You just get something in your Redshift instance, it's accepted. So data warehousing capability is about the same. I think it also runs serverless at this point. So they're quickly iterating on these features, but they're still playing catch up.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that.